is not a genre, at least not by itself. Let me explain. Take some famous horror games. Resident Evil is an action-adventure game, and also horror. Five Nights at Freddy's is a job simulator, and also horror. The Forest is a survival game, and also horror. The list goes on. This is a philosophy I'm pretending I've known forever, and not something I read online recently and agreed with. Horror games might be the most popular choice of genre for indie developers, probably. Whoa, stop watching that! In my opinion, if horror was a genre in itself with nothing else to accompany it, the games wouldn't be much more than just a button that says, press to get jump scared. Booga booga. Even as I was looking for game examples, I noticed that even Steam doesn't list horror as a genre, but rather as a theme. So I wanted to challenge myself to make a horror game in a genre that no one has made a horror game of before. Except, I was really struggling to think of one. Card games, you have Inscription. Farming game, Pumpkin Panic. Submarine simulation games, Barotrauma. So since I was struggling, I stopped thinking about horror and started thinking about games that I like to play. My whole life, I've always been drawn to games that involve for example, Apex Legends, Dishonored, Celeste, Spider-Man PS4, not the PS5 remaster. Get out of here, imposter! Hollow Knight, N++, Crab Champions, Mr. Fancy Pants, Titanfall 2, Just Cause 3, my beloved, Super Mario Bros, Learn to Fly, Batman, SSX, Super Monkey Ball, Mirror's Edge, a Shady Knight demo, It Takes Two. Wait. Go back. Mirror's Edge. Everybody's favorite rooftop jumping, wall running, cop punching, cool eyeliner having parkour game. Today, this brave man asks, what if Mirror's Edge was spooky?
Are you serious? Are you serious? You.
Well, as far as I know, there's no horror parkour game.
Get the out of here. Oh! Won't want to be ya. He's an idiot. He's a con artist.
Kevin, don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad.
It was a perfect idea, so I immediately started designing. Last time I did an episode on this, there was some confusion on how it worked, which is no one's fault but my own, so I just wanted to make sure it's clear this time. When I made the Wicker Devil, I made it in a 25 hour period, but only got to work on it about 16-ish hours because I had to sleep and eat, unfortunately. This time, the goal was to make the game in 24 hours of work, broken into two 12-hour sections. I also completely designed the game before I start the timer, because having a solid, detailed plan is crucial to a good outcome for this kind of challenge. So now that we're all cleared up, this is what I came up with. A monster is chasing you through a parkour map, and you must make it to the end before he catches up to you. But here's the twist. The monster is smart and always analyzing your movement. So however long it takes you to complete the current level is how long the monster will take to complete the next level. Because of this, each level is scarier and must be completed faster than the last. You win the game by completing all 5 levels. With that, the timer begins, and I started the most important step, which is making the map look pretty. Then I switched to the irrelevant stuff. I was confident I could make all the movement mechanics in the allotted time period because I had programmed movement systems before many times, just for funsies. Heck, even Nightly Routine, my Panda Fantasy survival game, has sliding, vaulting, gliding, and grappling, as well as a button that puts it in your Steam wishlist. Wink. So in a pinch, I can reference those projects if I get stuck. Lateral movement and jumping was a breeze to get through, but I couldn't move the camera yet because I actually wanted to attach the camera to a skeleton mesh bone so I could add procedural animations later on. So before anything, we're gonna have to build a skeletal mesh for the player. I have absolutely no idea if I'll have time to animate some kind of player model, but if I do, it'll be way easier if I just use his hands and feet. I already own some glove models, but I didn't have any shoes, so a little too much longer later, the skeleton was done. Now 2 hours later, I can finally move my camera around with it attached to the bone. I messed with the character movement component on my character, which is such a time saver, so when you sprint, it ramps up speed over time like a Mirror's Edge, and added all the classic platforming tricks like coyote time, jumping higher with a longer button pressed, and increased gravity when moving downwards. And to those who aren't familiar with Unreal, I'm not doing all of this from scratch. Unreal has an incredibly robust character movement system that I'm building off of, which attributes to being able to check off these boxes in only a couple of hours. Sliding is something I love to make, and it's not too hard. All you have to do is make the character decelerate very slowly and have the angle of the floor influence the direction that you're moving. Wall running took a little bit more finagling because there's more things to check, like moving the player alongside the wall, but also making sure that it updates the direction based off the wall's normal, so you can move on curved surfaces, as well as allowing you to jump off of it in the direction of the wall normal, slowly applying gravity so you move downwards, and most importantly, moving along the wall at the same velocity that you had when you jumped onto it. And it was vaulting that actually screwed me up for a while. The one I thought was going to be the simplest was just not working for way too long. My character kept getting stuck inside floors and bouncing around, or kept getting thrown to the left and only the left, and also clipping through walls entirely, and it just took me a couple of hours to iron out and get it working properly, which is a couple hours longer than I would have liked. I'm the kind of guy who likes to get everything he wants instantly with no effort. If only I had a website that effectively built up my programming and problem-solving skills so I could get over this, wall. Perhaps I could be of assistance. Superman? No, it's today's sponsor. Brilliant! Brilliant is where you learn by doing and has thousands of interactive lessons in programming as well as math, AI, and data analysis. Brilliant is designed to be uniquely effective using hands-on problem solving that let you play with concepts, which is a method proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. Plus, all the content is crafted by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers, and professionals from MIT, Caltech, Duke, Microsoft, Google, and more. But Brilliant, I'm no good at memorizing the maths equations. Don't worry, little dude. Brilliant helps you build your critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorizing. You'll be building real knowledge on specific topics while also becoming a better thinker. What particularly interests me about their website is their growing number of programming courses, which you can use to start building programs day one with their drag and drop editor. Learn essential coding elements like loops, variables, and conditionals, and something I think is underrated, developing your mind to think like a programmer to build a strong foundation in writing robust programs. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/shawcat or click on the link in the description. With it, you can also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thank you again to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Brilliant away! Sliding, wall running, and vaulting all together took about 4 hours, but I finally got it working by messing with the player collision, which is kind of hacky, but my time was starting to dwindle and I couldn't find any other options. As you might have noticed, I was also adding in procedural animations to the camera bone using Unreal's control rig. So there's camera tilt when you wall run and vault, as well as camera reactions to jumping, and a camera shake when you fall really fast. I had one more movement mechanic I wanted to add, which was zip lines, and I won't lie. For the other mechanics, I tried to take some liberty from my other movement projects and try to come up with something original and cohesive for this project. But for zip lines, I pretty much just copied and pasted what I had from Nightly Routine. But it's only because the time that vaulting took was stressing me out. Zip lines are simple though. You connect to the spline where you enter it and it moves you along and throws you off at the end, or you can jump off at any time. They're also momentum based, so you move along the spline at the same speed that you grabbed onto it. I could add movement mechanics forever because it's addictive and I love it, but we're nearing the halfway point and I hadn't even added any horror elements to my game yet. So I called it a wrap on movement and started putting together the first level, and then I'll get onto creature creation. Then I'll get creature. Whoa, sorry, my computer froze or something. I don't know, that was weird. Anyway, I'm letting the map be made primarily out of boxes, so it's feasibly possible for me to actually make some in a couple of hours. So I just gotta lay it all out, continuously test it to make sure everything's spaced out well for the movement, and make it about a minute long to complete. I'm trying to move fast, so I'm pretty sure I can wrap this up in about 30 minutes. Holy crap, that took 3 hours. I completely forgot about the incredulously famous proverb, Shawcat hates environmental design and also he's bad at it. I really wanted to get a head start on the monster and make him tonight, but it's just way too late now. I have to go to sleep. It's the next day and I've got to focus on the second half of this game, the horror. Before designing the monster, I wanted to come up with the logic. So there's no way I was going to make some AI logic system that could navigate through the parkour map and follow you and do cool flips and tricks and stuff. So instead, I just made a spline that follows the map from start to finish and had this ball move along it. And if it catches up to you, you lose. I'm really glad I did it this way because 1, it literally took me like 10-15 minutes to create, and 2, I was actually kind of terrified running away from the sphere because I had no idea how close it was behind me. So it's finally time to design the monster. I cracked open Blender and... Dying Light. Dying Light is a horror parkour game. Well, as far as I know, it's horror parkour. Well, as far as I know, well, as far as I know, it's horror. Well, as far as I know, well, I wouldn't really categorize Dying Light as horror, but it does have its horrifying moments. But most of all, I'm shocked I got this far into the development without even thinking about Dying Light, especially because that's another game that I love and I've played it quite a lot, but it's too late to change course now. Last time I did this challenge, I made a monster from a pre-existing deer model, and this time I want to do it from scratch. I needed something that can kind of follow you like a ball can, so I decided to go with this spider-like creature because I had a pretty cool idea, and I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, I'm just going to take you along for the ride. I drew this up during my design process, but I didn't really have a great idea in my head of what that was gonna look like in 3D. I just knew I wanted something kind of like a spider and something kind of creepy, which means I was changing a lot of things as I went. Like, don't get too attached to this creepy smile I started with. I change it later on. I gave him a giant thoracic body, a spindly neck, and a face that will hopefully make a player say, "Oh, good heavens, that sure tops off the old fear meter. I'd dissuade myself from seeing that creature again, as it invokes deep feelings of horror." To make it spider-like, I sculpted these holes for the arms to go in. Wait a minute. I added in the arms, and I'm actually really proud of this model I made here. I think the beauty in these 24-hour challenges is it forces you not to overthink or become hyper-focused on the tiny details. Most mistakes I make just become part of the model or part of the game, and the result is often flawed, but something I'm always very proud of. I textured it in Substance Painter, and since I was focused on going quickly, I just modified one of the built-in smart materials and then painted in some dark areas. Back in Blender, I gave it the crappiest rig known to man, because it's crunch time, baby. I removed the ball and switched him out with the spider. Let's see how the new spider looks.
Actually, how could you possibly expect to scare anyone with that thing? Its arms don't even move.
That little nerd is right. This is where my great idea came into play. I added in an IK function to snap the legs to nearby terrain, so it would appear that the monster is propelling itself forward as it goes. Let's test it out. Oh wait, oh frick! To be honest, that's even scarier than what I was going for, so I actually kept it to a degree. If any arm can't reach the terrain, it'll bend up like that and give it that weird floaty animation, which makes this thing appear really alien and otherworldly. It's by no means perfect, but I'm astonished at how quickly I was able to do it. Adding IK legs was kind of a risk for me because it's not really something I experimented that much with before. But since I kept it simple, it really only took me like 20 minutes, and I'm very happy with the result. So because it's a horror game, I had to check the 3 boxes, make it nighttime, make it spooky, and give the player a flashlight. And of course, added a jump scare when the creature caught up to the player. It's not as good as my Wicker Devil jump scare, but I was too nervous to waste a lot of time to try to animate something on top of all this procedural animation stuff I added, so I just went with the classic trick of parenting the camera to the head bone, and I think it's good enough. Especially because I just went against my entire whole spiel of mistakes becoming the part of the game, and I spent like an hour ironing out bugs and tweaking tiny parameters. My time was dwindling fast, so I realized I had a choice to make. Make more maps or add first-person animations. I knew the option had to be make more maps, because multiple maps is integral to the original idea of having the monster matching your previous level speed, which is too bad because I really wanted to add those animations. Goodbye, Shawkat. Goodbye, gloves. Goodbye, Shawkat. Bye. I made the way you beat the map by going through a door which displays all your time and other info, as well as a prompt to go to the next level. That also gave me the idea to make the main menu a map with doors to play and quit the game, and also acts as a little tutorial area which has its own little timer. I wasted too much time on that. I shouldn't have done it, but I did. I started working on map number 2, and I tried to be a lot faster than I was with the first, but today I learned that map design and the time it takes to put together is something I continue to seriously underestimate. Trying to space everything out nicely for fluid movement, as well as making it take about the same amount of time as the first map, was making me realize that the dream of 5 maps was slipping out of my fingers. As past Shawkat struggles with that daunting task, current Shawkat wants to say we're nearing 100,000 subscribers. When we hit 100,000, I'm gonna do a special 100,000 special. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And drumroll, please. How many maps did Shawkat create in his remaining 3 hours? 1. Yep, I am still bad at map design. So there were only 2 maps in the game, but that's not a bad thing. The game is still fun and it's spooky, and I had a blast making it, and you can play it right now on itch.io. It's called Midnight Momentum. So go get some high scores on it, and let me just tell you, my main menu high score is 596, and I am betting not a single one of you can beat it. That is a direct challenge to all of y'all. I'm sorry, it can't be done. But wait, right before you go play it, I know a lot of people are clicking off. I just want to clear one thing up. Since a lot of people were confused about my Wicker Devil video, when you download the game, this screen is an optional donation page. You can just click right here where it says, just take me to the download. You do not have to pay me a single thing to play it. It's totally free. So go have fun playing it. I had fun making it, and follow me on Twitter at Shawquack for more updates about my other projects, or maybe even this project. Who knows? We'll see. And beware, he's always watching.